So, Geoffrey, you've written about unbridled power, and with the repeal of the Labor government's resource management reforms and a move towards fast-track consenting, um, what's the impact of that, and how do you think the system might develop in the years ahead? Is it possible to secure this long-term cross-partnership agreement on it, which is really a critical policy area for New Zealand?
Well, I think that this is a 45-year-old story, so I don't want to go on too long.
No.
But I do want to go back to the National Development Act of 1979. I was in Parliament, and it was a big fought matter because what the government of the day wanted to do, and they were obviously impatient, as all governments are, to get their policies through. They passed the National Development Act. It was very controversial because it took away the powers in the existing law and put them under a group of ministers and effectively repealed large hunks of law which were not anymore going to apply. Well, that caused a political furore, and the act was substantially amendment. It went into force, and in fact, it only was used, I think, on one occasion. Then it was repealed by the incoming Labor government. But the incoming Labor government thought, we do need a better system. So they passed the Resource Management Act. Well, they didn't pass it, but we spent years getting it ready, and then it was passed by the national government. So there were two parties supporting it, and they amended it a bit. But the problem with the National Development Act was there were two things. The central government on both sides of the aisle did not take the steps they had in the Act to make it work properly. And we had local government who frankly weren't up to the job, involved with a lot of things. And then the government started amending it. They added long statutes to it. And it became twice the length or more than twice the length and it lost its coherence. So Mr. Parker becomes the Minister of the Environment. He wants to set it right. And he sets up a big process and he passes two big new statutes to overcome all this. And in the repealing under urgency that we've had, they were both repealed. So, but we still have, so we're back to the original Resource Management Act, but we've got this fast track bill that has been introduced, which is going to change everything again. And the problem I want to say is that then the third phase of the new government's policy is to produce a new Resource Management Act. Now, how is it that you can go on for 40 years with a process like that, spending an enormous amount of money and not actually solving the problem permanently? And I'll tell you what the problem is. It's the way we make law. We don't do it properly. We don't do it thoroughly. And we tend to amend it a lot. And when we amend it, we destroy its coherence. And I know these are technical questions, but I got to tell you, if you want to change the world, you have to know how to do it. And we have failed on this front in New Zealand. All political parties have failed, and we need to change the way the government works on lawmaking. First of all, it needs to be more transparent. These laws are never introduced until they've been finished by Cabinet. And the difficulty is it's all done in secret in the executive branch of government. No one knows what's happening. You can't get hold of the government's legislative program under the Official Information Act. So this is lawmaking in the dark. And the result of that is that it comes onto an unsuspecting public, is pushed through a select committee system and passed. And often it is passed too quickly without ironing out the problems that it has. And we've been doing this since the 1860s. We have a vast amount of law on the books. We've still got ordinances from the provincial councils that are in force in New Zealand. Now, you've got to clean up your statute book. You've got to have, one of the things they're doing is the Wildlife Act. That's in 1953. They say that's out of date. It's better to fix the act than to than to sort of override it, because you've got two legal systems when you override it. The overriding one, and this new bill is 104 pages long. It's heavily complex. It took me a long time to read it. And the strangest thing about it, and which worries me the most, is that the Attorney General, who's the minister in charge of the rule of law part of government, the Attorney General for this bill is not the Attorney General Judith Collins, who is the Attorney General, but the Minister of Justice has been made the Attorney General, and I don't know why that was done, and I haven't heard any discussion about it. So I understand the minister's problems. I know that they're trying to do their best. All ministers try and do their best, but they're handicapped by the way in which the executive government devises policy in silos, and you must do this stuff with interdisciplinary groups. And that's not that. I mean, it's a very big set of problems, and I don't ever see the end of it with the present methods we're using.